Alright folks, as you can see, another one in the car. Not on the boss's time, I'm in my lunch break, because that is how I am. When I'm working, I'm working. When I'm in my free time, I'm in my free time. Okay? This is the way I work with these things. Now, as you can see by the latest videos, I got a copyright on one of them. And then I did an analysis to see in which videos more of this type of events happened. Not so much copyright, but the downgrading of the videos in terms of views, meaning they don't get no publicity. Right. If you don't know this, I'm a pretty methodic person. Okay, when I analyze something, I'm almost autistic in the way that I go through every detail, try to see connections if there are any, and why they happened. And I went through it all, and I discovered something very interesting. Every time you talked about farming in the US, and I'm talking about videos related to the United States of America, okay, not Europe, not the United Kingdom, not elsewhere, okay, United States specifically. When you talked about farming, tourism, and the financial market, like the value of the dollar or whatever, those videos got shadow banned in the sense that they were not promoted. Okay, I'm not saying it was directly blocked, no, not at all. But they get shadow banned and they get not promoted. So, this one, it was also the same thing. The same exact thing. I was talking about farming. I was referring to the soybean industry, farming industry in the United States. And then it hit me. Well, I'm going to have to make more videos about those subjects. And I'm going to make more videos about those subjects. I'm going to talk non-stop about them because it's where it hurts. So, just for starters, let me tell you this. China is not buying one soybean from the United States. It has diverted its entire purchase or importation mainly to South America, including Argentina, that the American president has just bailed out. But it's not just soybeans. Soybeans is just a part of a long story. Okay? Besides soybeans, we have sorghum. We have dried nuts, for example. We have every kind of cereal, from wheat to corn. You have very specific products like, for example, ginger. There is an entire panoply of items, farming items, that have been completely blocked by the main importers. And all of those farmers and all of those farms, they are getting the short end of the stick. And what some farmers are already saying, that I was saying too, is this: the bailout will only solve the situation now, but it will not solve the future of the farming. And I'm very completely sure that there are a lot of farmers that know that the internal consumption of these items, or the price that they can obtain for it, does not compensate to have a business. Meaning, they are not going to plant. It's going to happen exactly what happened in the United Kingdom, where farmers simply Some were ran out of business, and others simply stopped planting or let the crops rot in the ground because it was too expensive to find someone to pick it up. Because the local workers don't want to do it, the foreigners were gone, especially the ones that came from the EU as seasonal workers. They went into the United Kingdom, they picked the crops, and they left, most of them. Some lived there. Okay? It's going to get dark, but I'm not going to turn on the light again. Okay? I think you can see me good enough. Now, what I'm seeing is this. Farming in the United States is being completely, they are reassessing who owns it. You have a lot of big companies like BlackRock that has ties with Mr. Vance and other farming, not just them, and other big groups. They are literally purchasing, acquiring these lands. It doesn't matter if it's for building or farming. They are acquiring these lands. They are removing the property of the land from the farming families. The first effect of this is a lot of farming towns in the United States will die if they are not dead already. And then you are going to have an effect, like for example the Roman Empire experience, where you had a lot of free citizens, Roman citizens, that fought in the legion, in the army, and when they came back, the state provided them with a plot of land for them to farm. Over the time, they they got retired. Okay, some of their offspring would stay in the land, planting it and selling it. But over the time, more and more, the great landowners, meaning the patrician, the aristocracy, the nouveau riche, okay, all of the senators, the emperors, the praetorians, generals, all of them, they started buying land up. And the result of this was such. First of all, a decrease in population, because those soldiers, they could not return home and have a family, so most of them had to move into the cities, especially Rome, where they lived off the state, or some jobs in everything. Okay, you have to imagine this like this. No, and the landowners in their great properties, they used slaves, mainly slaves. So they went, and most of them lived in the great urban centers. They just pick up the profit. There was even the person that was orienting their farms was usually also a slave, or a free slave. Okay, that a lot of times, due to the conditions of slavery, was even their son, or what, or you understand Roman. I think you can understand this. Okay, this was not that accentuated in the provinces where you had structure of family. For example, you would come here to what was Portugal. In that time, they divided this in two provinces to manage us. Simple as that. You would have cities that had land, the, the land of the city, of the equivalent to a town hall, where you had a forum and justice and an imperial representative and all of that shit. Okay, and then you had the smaller towns and the smaller settlements, where you had a mix between Roman settlers that had land and local people that had land too. They continued to let's call it to to farm it and to use it, with the exception perhaps of parts of Gaul in the south. The process that was happening in Rome never happened in the rest of the empire. Not for a long shot. It happened to a degree, but it did not happen with the same degree that happened in the center of power, where you had more money and you had more power and more rich people. And what I see happening in the United States right now, it's a process that is not that dissimilar, so to call it. And then these calls for population control and reducing of the population and all of this crap. It's like they are trying to uh, instill in people the acceptance for a future situation. Even the fact that a lot of Americans are leaving the country for the disgrace of the country, the most qualified Americans, and there are a lot of them that will not return even if this situation improves. This tells us a million. I'm beginning to see a lot more into this. And remember this, please. I do not engage in any kind of conspiracy theories. I just look at facts and then I give an opinion about them. And what this is saying to me is that there is a concerted movement to do something about it, to create this situation. And then you have the other part. You cannot talk about tourism. Tourism is dying in the United States. It will not cease to exist. Okay? But it is dying in the United States. And this means less people from abroad visiting the country. This means less jobs for the traditional migrant population. This means less profit for local businesses, even at a level of a casino or some kind of big business. Okay, I'm talking about local business in the sense the business of a town, of a state, of a region. Okay, you can all and not just small mom and pops shops that were already dead by Walmart. Okay, I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about the guy that sells hot dogs in the strip or some shit like that. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? This is what I'm trying to tell you. And then it's the financial part. The dollar is being technically devaluated. They are removing the value from it. So much so that American importers have seen themselves in the constraints of having to pay with euros for goods that they import into the country. Because no one wants to accept the dollar. You want to know why? I will explain to this. $1, I have to close the light because of the battery of the car. Imagine this. Today you acquire a good for $100. Tomorrow, those $100 for the same good, you will have to pay 110. If you acquire a good today, it will cost you 100 euros. Tomorrow, it will cost you 100 euros. Because Europe, the EU in this case, has the Eurozone that also influences all the currencies surrounding it, including the pound, sterling pound. The British, they are having a major issue too, because they hold a lot of American debt. In fact, I think they are the country that holds the biggest number in American debt, at least the biggest in Europe, followed by other European countries. Everyone holds some American debt. Even Portugal has some. Okay, so if the dollar crashes, the UK is going to suffer harder than the rest of us. Secondly, even if I take the BRICS as a momentary reaction, in my view, this is just a way for China, a scheme to not how can I say it? China, in order to remain the workshop of the world, it has to keep its products cheap. If they value their currency too much, they are going to suffer too. In terms of profit to the state, in terms of sales, in terms of everything. So it's not in their interest to propel, for example, the BRICS currency or their own currency into becoming the, let's call it, the world currency. It's much more profitable for them to propel, for example, the euro, because they will profit more, because they will be selling to Europe what they were selling to the United States, a lot of it, and or producing things here, for example. In this way, they will keep on having a profit, because the largest market in the world, that was the United States, is now showing signs that it will be shut down. Simple as this. Will it happen right now? I have my doubts. I even have my doubts that it will happen in the next 1 or 2 years. Because first of all, they have to make their loss. How are they going to do this? By purchasing land, for example, in the United States, like the Russians did in the UK, by purchasing land in the United States, by taking over faltering companies, by doing a lot of things. And the oligarchs in the United States, they could not care less, because they will continue to have their profits. BlackRock will continue to have its profits. I would even be interested in know the complete portfolio of BlackRock, and to see to what extent companies with ties with European and Chinese and Japanese and whatever investors and Russian investors, to what point are those companies not financed by those by those companies? Finance means control, because if I'm holding the money that you need, you are dependent on me. If I say no, you won't get your money. But these are all ideas that I'm going to develop further in other videos. I'm going to look into it even more, and I'm going to insist in these points. I'm going to upload this video right now. I'm going to put it out there, because I think it's important for us to talk about these things. It's important to see what they are blocking and why. Because when something is blocked, there's an order from above. And to block a video of a guy with less than 100 subscriptions, it means I'm hitting the nail. I'm hitting the head of the nail, like you say, that expression. I don't, you know? So I'm going to insist on it. Because I'm not monetized. Okay, I'm here just expressing an opinion and talking about things that I think that are important. Because these things, they affect the life of every human being in this planet. You know, you would think, oh, you're not American, why do you care? I care because instability in your bloody country ripples across the planet and affects everyone. And no one wants instability, except someone that can profit of it. And if you are saying this type of shit online, then you are a tool of them, because you are reinforcing that idea. Well, has been almost 20 minutes of a video. I'm going to have to end it and go back to work. All right, lunchtime is over. But think about these 3 points: farming, tourism, and the finance market. These are the 3 points we are going to have to look into it and insist. Okay. Thank you all for listening, for listening to me, and I hope to catch you all in the next one. Stay safe.